Straight up Tennessee family, we are officially one more day until the Tennessee Volunteers face off against the Florida Gators. What do we want to see, man? We've got keys to victory. We've got pump the gas, hit the brakes. We've got vol shots. We've got it all today, right here on a Friday of Straight Up Tennessee. I got my boy C2 with me. Turner will be joining us later on in the show. It's about to be a good old Friday, man. What do we need to see? It's really simple. I think we all know what we need to see, and the time is now. We've been trying to hold off and say, no, we don't need to do this. No, so the time is now. All gas, no brakes. We diving in. First part of today's show, we diving in. Everything that we need to see from this team tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern in Neyland. Checkered Neyland at that. It's your boy Ruck in the building. You already know what it is, man. It's Straight Up Tennessee, baby. Welcome to the One More Day episode.
First play, second quarter, touchdown Tennessee. That throw's intercepted. Pierce down the sideline. Touchdown.
What's good, Straight Up Tennessee family? It's your boy Ruck in the building, joined by that boy,
What
my homie, C2. What's happening, baby? How we feeling on a Friday, man?
Man, I'm feeling good. I've recovered from the nonsense of last week, and I am ready for this Saturday.
We need it big time, man. I think,
I'm ready to roast some Gators.
Oh, roast the Gators? We want to roast them?
Well, yeah, that's what we want. Whether or not that's what we do.
I want a smoked one. I want a smoked gator. You know what I'm saying? Smoke it up. I think we actually having gator. I think we having a couple pork butts, some wings, and some gator. What Jawan Jennings said. They asked me, he said, man, what you on this weekend? He said, gator. Oh, man, y'all. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a great week, man. I had a busy week. Your boy was on travel for some work. Spent some time in Seattle, Washington. Man, it is beautiful out there. If you've never been, it was my first time, and I have to go back. I got to take my wife. It was beautiful, man. I mean, from the market to the Space Needle, like their tree, Corey, like the only tree you see is an evergreen. It's just everywhere. It's beautiful, bro. And so had a great week doing that. And man, I was just so excited to hop on the show, man, on a Friday, bro, because it lets me know it's go time, man. Like it's been a long week. It felt like because of the obvious in the 19-14 loss to Arkansas last week. Tennessee just wasn't themselves, right? Like, I mean, like there's no other way to put it. We just were not ourselves. And it was from drive one and of Arkansas's first drive and our first drive. Like after play number one, we roll to the right. Dylan Sampson's in the flat. He's covered up. We go down the field, 15 yards to Dante Thornton. Catch, illegal man downfield. Like from that play,
yep,
it never was the same. Like, how do you feel, man? Obviously, it's Friday. We've had a lot of time to kind of dump this game, but you haven't been on the show in a week. So, like, how are you feeling, bro, on a Friday?
You know, it was disappointing. Obviously, it's always going to be disappointing to lose, but the way in which we lost was disappointing. There were too many similarities to things that were done last year with Joe Milton under center. Obviously the play where Nico ran out of bounds, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that's just, you know, he's still raw. He's still green.
Yeah.
He's learning. We got to remember, even though he whooped Iowa, this is his first full season in the SEC playing teams.
You're right.
And our offensive line did not help him at all in that game. That was some of the worst blocking I've seen from our line in the past couple years, to be honest with you.
The tackles were non-existent, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad.
100%. You could even see it in the run game. I mean, we are lucky Dylan Sampson and Bishop are as good as they are, because if we had other people running back there, we wouldn't have scored that game the way we were playing.
I agree.
Also disappointed a bit in the play call. I think there's some like back to basics things that we could have done to take care of some of that. You know, if people are going to play 3 deep against you and bring all of their linebackers up to the line, you need to run some slants. You need to run some halfback screens. We ran way too many wide receiver screens. I know that's a key part of our offense, but it became clear pretty quick that we were going to throw a wide receiver screen on first down, probably get a penalty. Then we were going to run HB dive on second down, pick up 5 yards, and then we were going to try and throw it deep when they could just drop everybody back on third down, or try and throw it to the sticks when they could just drop everybody back. So, you know, that's pretty much sums up my feelings on that game. It was disappointing. I'm glad we're past it now, and looking forward to Florida this week.
Yeah, I think it's a bounce back game, right? Like, if the analytics are true, and every SEC team that has lost a game and have played a game back home the very next game, the win percentage, I think, is like 90-something%. And if analytics are real, Tennessee better beat the brakes off Florida. I mean, that spread right now, bro, is still 15. It's changed. It's like 15.5. It was like 13.5 at one point, and now it's back to 15. It's Florida, though, right? Like,
it is.
There's always something,
mm-hmm.
Tennessee and Florida, that gives you reason to feel some type of way. Like, gives you reason to say, I'm not sure if Tennessee can do it. And it's BVS. It is. It's not a curse. It's just history.
Yeah.
And I truly think, this is what I think, C2, for real. Half of the players on this roster definitely know about the Tennessee and Florida rivalry, right? Like, they know, they have some type of knowledge of what it's been like, because they've been recruited by Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been some people on this team that have been recruited from that coaching staff or from that university, and they know, like, that is a selling point to go to either school or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's another half that do not give a crap about Florida. And I think NIL is the reason. The transfer portal, NIL, like, Jermod McCoy don't know about this rivalry. He don't care. It's just another team to him, right? Now, Jacoby Thomas, a guy who grew up in Tullahoma, Tennessee, he knows about this game.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up, you know what I'm saying? And so you got to have those guys that know, the Knoxville, the Tennessee guys. Arion Carter, the Smyrna, Tennessee product. He
better not end up covering the middle of the field when there's a halfback running out.
Stop it.
This game.
Stop it. But I say all that to say, as many people as we know on the roster that do know, there's another half that genuinely don't. I think that is what causes this game to lean heavily in Tennessee's favor, because the curse and all of these things that we've talked about for years, it just doesn't really matter anymore. Like, you're going to play Florida. It's a rival. SEC will never dump that game. They just won't.
Mm-mm.
It's going to be on the schedule. But we've got to get all of these kids to a place to where they understand and they recognize the rivalry. But history does not have to be what this rivalry hangs on anymore. And so that is what I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I've got a lot of details, man, that I kind of want to dive in, but let's talk about this real quick. See, like, before we even dive in to any of the segments with keys to victory, any of that, what do you think right now? This is kind of twofold. What do you think right now is the biggest issue on the offensive side for the Vols that we've just not seen it get clicking in SEC play? Let's you know what? I even want to go back because I don't think we played bad at all against Oklahoma. I think Heupel really pulled back and said, we're going to beat these guys if we throw it for 400 or if we run it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we had big plays. We had four big passing plays downfield. Like, we could have done that all night. We really could have. So, but let's take it from the Arkansas game and then the second half of the OU game. What are you seeing as the biggest issue with why the offense isn't truly, I guess, clicking right now?
I think we've been too predictable, man. Like, maybe it's just me, but I haven't seen us really open up our playbook the way we have in past years, really at all. And we've done some of the, like, we've gone quick. Like, don't get me wrong, we've gone quick. We've gone faster than most teams go as far as our pace goes and getting up to the line and everything. But we've not looked as organized doing so as we have in past years, which has caused us to take longer once we get to the line.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that for a second, because I want to add on to that a little bit. I don't necessarily agree that we haven't shown tempo.
No, we've definitely shown tempo.
Here's what's the problem.
True.
Tell me if you think, am I left field with what I'm about to say, or am I correct? The reason we're not seeing more of it is because you get in situations like last week, first drive of the game, you got exactly what you wanted. You got the look that you wanted, and you hit the guy 15, 20 yards down the field, and you get a first play of the drive penalty that pushes you back 5 yards.
Yep.
This offense is not designed to run tempo behind the sticks.
No.
You put yourself in a bad position. And I think because of so many pre-snap penalties, we have seen less tempo. And this has been all year, really. Like, go back to even NC State. Like, yeah, we torched NC State. We put up 51 on their head. Yes. But pre-snap penalties killed us then. And it was Lance Hurd then. Right? The pre-snap penalties limit how much tempo you can actually show, because now it's 1st and 15. Yep. What are we going to do on 1st and 15 to get a groove going? Well, I'll tell you this, it's not going to be a 15-yard curl. It's not going to be a shot play. It's not, it doesn't make sense at that time. It's not, it might not even be inside zone. It might be a screen to the outside just to try to see what's happening. And then you throw the screen. And now it's 2nd and 13. There's no good plays on 2nd and 13, people. I'm just telling you this right now. There are no good plays on 2nd and 13. And so because of a drive killer like a pre-snap penalty, it limits our tempo.
I think it limits our tempo, but I think it also affects our effort level some. Because I'm thinking, at least from a wide receiver point of view, right? I'm sitting there running 10, 15, 20 yards downfield, full sprint, just for somebody back on the line to have gone too far downfield or held somebody or, committed some sort of goofy penalty that's going to mess up the whole thing. Why am I out here running? I'm not getting the ball. Ball's not getting thrown to me. I'm having to run all the way back to be ready to hike the ball. When we get back, people are disorganized while we try to figure out what our new play is, because we are now 5 yards minimum back further than where we were.
What's scary about that, though, is I think that's really happening, because
100% it is.
When you look at the route tree, it does not look like our receivers want the ball. Right? It doesn't even look like they want the football, man. And I don't want to be the guy to say it, but they got to get open. And if they ain't going to get open, then throw Mike Matthews in there. Put Chaz Nimrod in. I've liked everything I've seen from Chaz.
Oh, yeah.
Put Chaz in. Where the heck is Caleb Webb? Like, give Caleb Webb some run. Like, if these guys don't want to run and these guys don't want to give 100%, I'm telling you, man, Dylan Sampson said it in the post game. We were lackadaisical in the prep week. They ain't going to do that no more. They're not going to do this anymore. I promise you. And it starts Saturday. It starts tomorrow. They're not going to do this anymore. They can't. They can't afford to. If we still want goals and dreams of the college football playoff, really, in my opinion, you got to win out.
I think you can lose one more, but it's got to be either Alabama or Georgia. You cannot slip up against somebody else.
You can definitely lose one. You can definitely lose one, but I still though, the media does not like when Tennessee is great, and so they're going to hang this loss over Arkansas over our head if we don't show up in the rest of these games, but. The tempo has to – that's who we are, Corey. That's who we are, man. And we've not been it because of stupidity and penalties. We've got to get back to that. And it has to start tomorrow, man. Like, if we are going to do what we know we can do, which we've seen us do in 4 games this year, the 5th game, it just wasn't there at all.
No.
We've got to push the ball. And I'm not saying downfield with passes necessarily. Now, I do want to see more of it, but I'm saying we've got to push the tempo. We have played to the other team's tempo in the last 1.5 games.
Yep.
It's now time to get that back. It's time to get that back.
It needs, whether it's pushing the ball, whether it's seeing a gap and running. I know Nico doesn't want to be a running quarterback. I understand that. I appreciate that about him. I don't want him to be out there running all the time either. But there comes a point in the game where if you've got the gap and you can go get, especially if we're down. And here, this isn't necessarily a bold prediction, but if we don't see it this week, we're going to lose to Alabama. If we don't get right this week, because you can't just flip that switch on against a defense like Alabama's bringing in. That's not something. If you don't do it against teams that you're building up that comfortability, that chemistry with your wide receivers, with your running backs, if your offensive line isn't building that chemistry, which is one of the reasons, if he wasn't really injured, Lance Hurd being out was the dumbest thing, because you need to play together against any competition, even UTC level competition, in order to be comfortable playing against the good teams that you will face.
Yep. Let's dive in, see. That hurt me because I don't want to lose to Alabama. Not at home.
Neither do I.
But we'll see how it goes. But it starts tomorrow, man. And let's start with Pump the Gas, Hit the Brakes tonight, man. Or today on a Friday. We've gonna pump the gas, hit the brakes, man. Tennessee's defense forces 2 turnovers against Florida. Are we pumping the gas or are we hitting the brakes?
I'm gonna say gas.
You're gonna pump it.
Yeah, but I think some of those turnovers will be I don't necessarily think it's going to be interceptions. I think it'll more than likely be fumbles.
I don't care. Just get them. Nico throws 3 touchdowns. Is this a redeem type game for Nico Iamaleava? Pump the gas or hit the brakes?
I'm going to hit the brakes on him throwing 3 touchdowns.
You think he accounts for 3?
Gets 3 touchdowns, but I think at least one of them is running.
I'm pumping it, man. It's time. Cut the boy loose and let's eat. Let's freak it.
I agree it's time. I just don't know if it happens.
Tennessee has 250 plus rushing yards. Pump the gas, hit the brakes.
I think we get close, but I'm going to hit the brakes. I don't think we quite reach 250.
I'm pumping the gas. Florida has the 101st worst run defense in the country. I feel good about this. I feel good about this night. They gave up 240 yards to Mississippi State. 310 yards to Texas A&M.
Yeah.
We didn't got better rush offenses than them?
We do. I think the difference is we are going to be trying to get our pass game going. And Texas A&M's quarterback is similar to what we've seen in some other quarterbacks where it's almost run first.
I'm taking 250. And this leads me into this one. Dylan Sampson rushes for 150. yards. Pump the gas or hit the brakes.
I mean, I can't pump the gas after hitting the brakes on the last one. I think he breaks 100 for sure, probably somewhere around 120 to 130 in there.
I'm gonna hit the brakes as well. I think he's really close. I think he's at like 139 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I really do. He's gonna have a couple of big boys. Let's do keys to victory, man. I like to do this in the middle because a lot of things after this depend, like the answers we give involve shots, the answers we say for playmakers, offense and defense. It all starts here with keys to victory. Corey, what has to happen, man? Like we are, I mean, depending on when you're listening, man, we're 24 hours away. Tennessee can't lose this game. They cannot lose this game. They cannot. I don't care if it's another 10-9 and we come out on the other side. You won. You cannot lose this game. Not at home. After a loss when you shouldn't have lost. Like, what are your keys to victory for the Vols?
We have to be efficient passing the ball. Period. From lack of penalties to pass protection to catching, catch the ball. And Nico, he's young. This doesn't mean down in the kid. He's got to be accurate. We can't have any more grounders to third. We can't have any more balls to the end of the end zone when our receiver's running his route and he's only on the 10-yard line. Like, we have to have accuracy because right now, purely, this isn't saying Florida is better than us by any means because they are not. But in pass efficiency, they are doing better than we are, which is it sucks to hear because they have not been good passing the ball.
Well, I would love to see how many of those are 10 or less yards.
Their average game is higher than us. They've got more yards passing than us. Their completion percentage is better than us right now. Well,
Graham Mertz is throwing for like 77.2 completion percentage, but
yeah,
over 3/4 of 75% of his passes are less than 10 yards.
I mean, I would argue a lot of ours have been the past game and a half too, though.
Yeah, but he ain't stretching the field. I mean, when Lagway gets in is when they begin to try to stretch the field.
Yeah.
But they also try to run with Lagway in, so
we got to be prepared for both quarterbacks.
Oh, they're both going to play. It's like a 2-to-1 ratio. Mertz will run 2, and for every 2 drives, Lagway gets 1. So they're going to keep that up all year. They haven't changed it now. They ain't going to change it.
But that's the key on offense. Offensive line play just has to be better. We have to be efficient. Those are my 2 keys on offense. Offensive line, get your together. Efficiency in the pass, because our run game's been solid all year. You cannot take anything away from D-Samp or D-Bish this year.
Yeah.
They have fought through contact almost every single time they've had the ball. And they're getting hit way too soon.
They've been great. What about defense? You got anything on the defensive side?
I don't want to see any more, at least not early in the game. I understand if it's late and we're up, but I don't want to see any more early in the game bend but don't break bullcrap. That was defenses of the past. This defense does not need to bend. You don't need to bend in order to not break because you are better than just about every team that will line up across from you. Go out and show it. I understand it's probably going to be difficult for Pierce to get sacks on Lagway because Lagway is going to be out there running around like a chicken with his head cut off, like making something happen.
Though, man, he was all over Taylor Green.
But not too many of those turned into sacks.
No, but there were a lot of hurries and
tons of pressures.
Bad throws.
I want to see him living in Graham Mertz's mind, though. Like, I want sacks on sacks from Pierce.
Sacks on sacks.
And then secondary's got to hold up. We can't. There were too many plays last week when we were playing 10 to 15 yards off the receiver from the jump on 3rd and 4.
Yeah.
It's way too easy to get a first down, 3rd and short, and you stand in 20 yards downfield.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I would agree. Keys for me, man, it's really simple this week. My first one is tempo. It's tempo, tempo, tempo. We have to find our rhythm early. That's really what my key is. Find the rhythm early. But it starts with tempo. I think Nico's got to feel confident pre-snap, understanding what he's seeing. They're going to throw different stuff, bro. There's now nothing you haven't seen. Everybody is now doing the same exact thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're showing you a completely opposite something on film. And then when they get you on the field, it's everything that you saw the week before from the other team. Oklahoma made the blueprint. Arkansas executed the blueprint. What do you think Florida's going to do? It's going to be the same thing. Eat it up. Hype, scheme it up all night. We need it. And we're going to see it. I really think we will. Second thing, explosive plays. I think we have just had a lack of explosives this year. We've had some, but not what we're used to. And so we've got to see more explosive plays all over the field. Pass game, Dylan Sampson had a big exploding game, a big explosion running play against Arkansas. I genuinely just want to see explosive plays. Defensively, be that boy. That's what I put. Be that boy. And what I mean is, you guys are legit. Be that dog. Do not allow somebody to come into your crib and throw for 400 or rush for 300. Like, I'm not saying Florida's going to even do that, but don't even let it be a thought. End them in the first quarter. End them in the first quarter. Last thing is, I think there's going to be some special teams opportunities. Whether that's a punt return or kick return, something, we have to be, I put on this, head on the swivel. Head on the swivel. Containing the quarterbacks, fitting your gaps, fitting your run lanes, especially in the kick return and punt return game. And then lastly, bro, no stupid penalties. Pre-snap, running into the freaking kicker. Like, stop. Like, that's not even showing effort. That's just dumb. Stop.
When we're up by 2 scores, we don't need you to block a punt.
No, run straight. Just run right by the guy. No stupid penalties, man. So, Tennessee, there's no way they should lose this game. There's not.
I got one more key to victory.
Go for it
before we move on, because it has nothing to do with the offense or the defense. Fans that are at the game need to be loud from the moment, unless you're in a TV timeout, from the moment Florida receives the ball till it's back in our possession. Too many times I've been to games where something doesn't go our way and we get quiet for a couple minutes. That cannot happen this week. And we can't wait till after they break huddle, if they huddle, to start being loud. They've already made all of their decisions by that point in time. Be loud the whole time. The entire time they have the football. Be crazy.
You got my word. You got my word, bro.
Well, I know you'll be crazy.
I'm going to be up. I was down, but now I'm.
And then lastly, Florida has been terrible in first and third quarter. They rank 90th plus in allowing points in those 2 quarters. So we need to get up early at the start of the game, and we need to come out of the half crisp.
It's go time, y'all. It's go time. Offensive players of the game. See, let's do this. Let's do playmakers of the game. Offensively, let me ride this first. It's Nico Iamaleava.
Has to be.
You got to wake up. Through 2 SEC games, it's not the guy that we thought that we would see, but we all have to understand that there is a development and a progression that has to happen. Our season started against Oklahoma. That was game 1. Game 2, we didn't progress. Are we going to progress from game 2 to 3? That's what I need to see from Nico, but he has to be the playmaker of the game offensively. What you think?
He has to be. If he is not, I'm not saying he has to win like MVP, but if we don't see efficiency from him if we don't see some plays downfield, some short, medium passes accurately moving the ball, our chances are not good next week.
Yeah, I would agree.
Against Georgia.
Agree.
It needs to be now.
I would agree. 100%. Defensive side of the football, bro. What do you need to see? Who needs to be that playmaker of the game?
It needs to be the defensive line, all of them. But I would love for it to be Pierce specifically. Although, if he does decide to come back next year because it's not been quite the year he wanted, I'm okay with that. But I would love for him to just go off this game.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think that's a great decision. D-line. I'm going to go to that second layer. The linebackers were horrible last week.
Yep.
Pass coverage, we were lost, man. Peely included. We were lost. The linebackers got to have a better game and get after it. And we've got to line up right. Like, line up correctly. It starts at the linebacker position. Line up correctly.
And stop assuming that no one else runs tempo. I can't tell you how many times last week I was screaming at the TV for them to stop staring at the sideline and look at what's going on in front of them. Because I'll tell you this, if Arkansas had snapped the ball a couple seconds earlier, even really 1 second earlier on average per play, we would have lost by multiple scores because there were so many times that we were not prepared at all for the next play.
I agree. We're just looking around, bro. Like, oh, they're not going to snap the ball.
Yep.
It was crazy. I was just shocked by that, man. I was like, what are we doing? Like, what are we actually doing?
Yeah, I've never seen us look that disorganized. Well, since Heupel got here, I've never seen us look that disorganized.
Keyword since Heupel got here, for sure.
Yep.
Y'all, man, turning the corner, man. Let's ride into Vol Shot C2. Let's ride, man. Are we taking the spread? It's 15 right now.
No.
I like
I'm
it.
not taking the spread.
I'm not either. Over under is 56.5. Are you taking over or under?
Under.
I like that too. Tennessee's defense, 300 passing yards. Do we give up more or less?
Less.
Love it. Bonus question. Mike Matthews is our leading receiver.
I would love that. And it's definitely a possibility with some of the guys we've got shaken up, but I don't think so, no.
I hope so.
I think it'll be one of our tight ends.
I'm going to say yes, Mike Matthews is our leading receiver. I hope so, but I don't know. And then the Tennessee defense, 300 passing yards. I'm going to go less as well. I just think that we're going to be able to cause havoc. I do. I really think that we're going to be able to cause havoc because of the crowd. I think the crowd is going to play into this game so much more than people think. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to figure out and kind of see like what happens, man. I'm excited for this game. I'm so excited. And it really leads us into college football pick'ems because there is a slate this week, Corey.
It's a rough week.
This is a slate.
Rough week, man.
This is a slate of games. And so we'll pick these. And then obviously, man, we'll pick the Tennessee and Florida matchup. But before we get there, bro, Washington and Iowa, who you taking?
I want to take Iowa, but I'm taking Washington because every time I pick Iowa, they forget about the forward pass as a thing that exists. So I'm going Washington.
Wisconsin or Rutgers? I'm taking Washington as well, by the way.
I'm going Rutgers.
Absolutely. They are surprisingly playing great right now.
Yeah.
Here we get into some of the bigger matchups of the week. Penn State and USC. I know USC lost they shouldn't have, but Penn State's just really not that good, bro. I'm sorry. They're number 4 in the country because a lot of teams lost and they're just undefeated, but that's really not a good football team, man. I'm taking USC.
I'm also taking USC, but because Penn State has to travel to California.
It's a long way.
We've seen time and time again that when you have to travel, if you're an East team and you travel to the West Coast, it's rough.
It's rough. What about Cal and Pitt?
Pitt for the same reason I just said.
Absolutely.
Reverse direction.
What about this BYU and Arizona matchup? This is interesting because Arizona has struggled so far. And BYU has somehow snuck into the top 15, and they're 5-0. Like, what's happening in Utah?
I feel like they do this every couple years. BYU will just get hot for like 7 or 8 games and then completely fall apart on the back end.
Yep, I can see it. I can see it.
But since they've only played 5, we're not at the 7 or 8 mark yet. I went BYU.
I love it. I love it. Okay. I like that too. I like that too. Washington State and Fresno State. I'm going Washington State.
I'm going Washington State too. I don't really understand how they aren't ranked yet at all, like on the bottom half of the top 25. But they've looked good this year.
I sadly think it's because of their conference.
But
there's only 2 teams in it. Like,
that's true.
They don't care about them anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
that's
goodness
true.
gracious. Here we go, man. Here's the big 4 other than our game. Ohio State and Oregon. 2 versus 3 matchup in Oregon. Dylan Gabriel welcomes the Buckeyes to town, bro. I've been struggling on this game because I genuinely still believe Ohio State is just trash. I know Jeremiah Smith is a boy. But what does Will Howard do in a crazy environment like this? This is the same Will Howard that went to Missouri last year and lost.
The problem with this game is you have 2 teams who annually absolutely choke in a big game. So when you've got a game where there's chokers on both sides, who do you pick? I've gone with the home team because that's who I would like to win, but this game could go either way. I've seen Oregon blow some crazy games at home that they should not have. I've seen Ohio State blow crazy games, mainly to Michigan over the past few years, that they should not have lost.
I'm going Oregon as well. I think the home team. And again, man, that travel, East Coast to West Coast, is just not friendly on the body. Ole Miss and LSU. This is a tricky matchup for Ole Miss simply because it's at 7:30 in Baton Rouge.
Yeah,
that's not a good matchup, man. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're Alabama. I don't care. You got to go play them at 6:30 local time there, 7:30 Eastern. I'm going LSU.
I am going Ole Miss for this game.
Man.
Because I think after losing the way they did last week, similar to how we are going to come out, they're going to come out firing.
The difference
LSU has been sneaky good this year, but I don't know if they're going to be able to handle. Because say what you want about Lane Kiffin, but he's a good coach. He's a good schemer. So
great. But the thing that's against them is they ain't at Vaught Hemingway.
That's true.
At 6:30 local time.
Yeah.
Iowa State and West Virginia. Iowa State is looking like a playoff team, which is very strange. Yeah. So I have to go Iowa State because I just don't think West Virginia's defense can stop Iowa State at all.
No. I also went Iowa State. Iowa State will drop a game they shouldn't drop at some point this season, but it's not going to be against West Virginia.
I'm very excited about this next game because we will actually get to watch most of it because the Tennessee game will be ending as this one is starting. Colorado and Kansas State, man. Like, Prime has the kids actually playing really well. Again, they're not playing insanely incredible football teams at this time. But to be 4-1, this is a different looking Colorado team. And now I understand. They're going to be playing a team that's really good. Avery Johnson, Sunshine for Kansas State. But then also the transfer from Colorado, Dylan Edwards, special athlete.
Yeah.
But it's in Boulder.
It is.
Who do you like in this game?
I picked Colorado. I don't necessarily right now think they're the better team. I think they have some better players. Travis Hunter, one of them. He's probably one of the best players in all of college football, at least top 3. But over the past 2 years under Prime, who has Colorado played their best games against? Has it been people they were picked to win against, or the teams they were the underdog against?
The teams that they've been the underdog against.
Exactly. They are the underdog in this game. It is in their home stadium. Their fans, you can say whatever you want about Prime as a coach, the way he talks, whatever. I may even agree with some of it, but there is one thing you cannot take away, and that is the just excitement and passion he has brought to the Colorado program, because that stadium never got that loud before. Never looked like it did. Those people are crazy out there. I would not want to go play there.
Especially at 8:15 local time there.
Right.
Like, that's nuts, bro. I took Colorado as well. I'm taking Prime. We're gonna see what happens. And then this, man. Tennessee and Florida, 7:00 kick local time, 6:30 Central, 6:00 Central. I'm sorry. Checker Neyland, the classic unis are coming out. C2, I can't pick against Tennessee in this game, not coming off a loss, man. I think the Vols go in. First home game in over a month. It's go time. And I think Tennessee handles business. I do think it's a back and forth kind of weird game to start, maybe.
It always is. It's always weird.
But I think at the end of the day, the better team wins, and that's Tennessee. I got the Vols 33-20. I'm keeping my same score from Monday.
Mine is very close to yours.
Yep, I'm saying 33-20. We don't cover, and we're under. We're under the spread.
I have us 31-17.
Like it.
I think we win by 2 touchdowns, but I do think because of shenanigans early in the game. Here's really, if I was going to call the whole game, here's how I think it's going to go. I don't think we come out looking like we want us to look. I think it takes us a couple quarters to get there.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope it's completely backwards. I hope we start off and just have that mother freaking Neyland Stadium rocking. And then, like, we may have a third quarter where we're like, oh, my God, we're falling flat, and we end strong.
I would love that too, but I don't.
It's happening, Corey. Shut up.
I think it takes some reps to get that right. And not practice reps. It's got to be in-game reps. So I think we come out still a little sloppy, looking better than we did against Arkansas, but we pull it together. Probably about midway through second quarter, I think it all starts firing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it happens. I think it's gonna be a little interesting, but it happens. And the Vols get the W, man. So y'all know what to do, though, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Join the channel. It's $2, man. Stop buying McDoubles. And stop trying to think about buying the chicken Big Mac and just join the fam. It's simple. And so it's going to be a really good night, man. I can't wait for tomorrow. Big game. I'm traveling to Knox today. It's going to be a big time. It's a big time rivalry. It's going to be a big time game. And we need Nico Iamaleava to show up and have that defense on fire as well. C2, you got anything, man, before we wrap?
Go Vols.
For my guy C2, it's your boy Ruck in the building, man. We'll see y'all back live Sunday for the next day Florida edition episode. For my guy C2, it's your boy Ruck in the building. You already know what it is, man. I'll actually
be on.
You will be.
I will be.
I don't
have work that day.
Let's go. You already know what it is, man. It's straight up Tennessee, baby. Let's go Vols. Let's go handle business. Tomorrow, Checker Neyland Stadium. We out.